At the beginning of the film, we see two workers driving with chemicals stored behind the vehicle. They are just gossiping and talking about their lives, sharing the events that have happened recently. While talking, the driver takes out his phone and begins to check something. But his partner sees a deer and tries to warn his friend who is still busy on the phone. Well, due to poor communication and lack of attention, the car hits the deer, leaving behind a pool of blood. The impact is so hard that the container from behind gets popped out of the car and rolls down into a river. The driver jokingly agrees he didn't see the deer and tells his partner to check the backside. But his partner shows more interest in the front. He checks the front and realizes the deer is not going to make it. We now see a little journey of the container as it flows down the river. After crashing through the waves, it finally comes to an end when the container stops at a beaver's nest. The container breaks down, spraying out green liquid. The beavers staring at the container make noise. The scene changes and we see Jen crying in the men's bathroom. She gathers herself and puts her makeup back on her face. On her way out, she meets a man and apologizes for using a men's room. Later, we see her driving in a car with her friends Mary and Zoe. They are on a trip to Ashwood and apparently, they have not invited their boyfriends. Jen, who got cheated on, is still depressed and needs a good vacation. Zoe is teasing Jen for getting cheated on and has a special thing for her puppy. The scene shifts and we see a boy fishing near a lake. His fishing pole gets pulled inside by something strong. He goes over the edge to check what pulled it, but something creeps onto him from behind. The girls arrive at the same lake and instantly look around and plan what to do next. Just then, a neighbor arrives and hugs Mary. The neighbor with a smile says Mary has blossomed beautifully. Zoe, being Zoe, says there are many things on Zoe that haven't blossomed. The neighbor invites the girls for breakfast before they enter their weekend house. Jen asks where the bathroom is and goes to check her phone. Unfortunately, there is no network and she comes out. Mary knows why Jen went to the bathroom and confronts her. Jen also confesses that she texted her boyfriend. Zoe also comes out with the same problem and says what if there is an emergency. Mary enlightens them that there is a landline. The girls get into their bikinis to sit near the lake. Zoe, without any hesitation, removes her bra and jumps into the lake. The girls later sleep on a wooden rake and apply lotion on each other until they see a beaver nest. Jen is excited to see beavers and all of them swim towards the nest. They check out that the nest is covered in green liquid. They think it's beaver urine. To their surprise, a bear appears out of nowhere. They slowly step back, but the bear is shot by a guy named Smith. He tells them to cover up because there are families nearby. The girls go back to their place and eat popcorn as they play Would You Rather. While playing, something knocks on their door. Zoe goes out to check with a flashlight even after being stopped by Mary and Jen. But then the wind blows over and the door is locked. Their scared moment turns into an awkward moment as Mary and Zoe's boyfriends arrive. Mary's boyfriend Tommy didn't want to come here but is forced by Zoe's boyfriend Buck. Even Jen's boyfriend Sam has arrived. Mary is not happy about this, but Jen allows them to sleep over. Buck and Zoe make love, making Sam and Jen awkward with the noise. Buck even screams he feels like a Power Ranger. Sam tries to touch Jen but she confronts him with a picture where he is kissing another girl. Jen slaps him twice and leaves. Sam pushes Jen against the wall and begins to kiss her. But Jen cleverly knees his crotch. After finishing lovemaking with Mary, Tommy asks if she is okay. She says she is just worried about her friend Jen. Jen goes to the bathroom for a bath and gets undressed when she hears something from the bathtub. She thinks it is Buck, but when she checks out, a zombie beaver growls and jumps on her. Jen comes out crying and tries to tell this to Sam. Everyone from their room comes out and asks what happened. Jen says it was not a normal beaver. They all go inside the bathroom to check it out. There is no one in the bathroom and Buck goes on to roast Jen. The beaver jumps on Buck, but Tommy with a baseball bat smashed the zombie beaver. They put the body in a bag and throw it outside. The group later talks and Jen says she will sleep with Mary. The next day, the group sees the beaver's body is missing from the bag. They think some animal took it. Even after Jen's disapproval, the group goes to the lake. Sam and Mary on the wooden rake talk about the picture, and here it is revealed that the other girl Sam kissed was Mary. He tries to touch her but Mary throws him off. Tommy sees this but ignores it. Jen finally enters the water but feels something touch her foot. Soon, Buck gets pulled down. The others think he is just messing around. But Buck comes back up with his foot in his hand. The group swims towards the raft. Jen on the other hand runs back into the cabin and tries calling for help, but the line is torn apart. Meanwhile, two more beavers arrive at the rake. Jen also gets attacked by one of them. Jen tries to hold off the beaver. Sam throws Zoe's puppy in the water to distract the beavers. While they eat the puppy, the group swims towards the shore. Jen kills the beaver and the others arrive. While sitting and talking about their situation, Zoe is upset with Sam for killing her talk. They get into an argument and Mary tries to stop her. Zoe says Mary would always protect Sam. Zoe tells them about Sam and Mary's kiss. Tommy is also upset. Just then the beavers surround them. Tommy and Zoe decide they have to get Buck to a nearby hospital because he can't make it through the night. Mary tries to stop them but they don't listen and ask her for the keys. They somehow manage to get out of the house and get back inside the car. Meanwhile, the neighbor is worried about the girls because she heard some weird noises from their house. Her husband thinks they are just partying as he pets his dog. But later, without knowing he is petting a beaver. Tommy, Buck, and Zoe in the car have to stop because the road is barricaded. Zoe thinks the beavers did this. Just then, they see an abandoned vehicle with guns and axes. Tommy gives an axe to Zoe and tells her to go back with Buck. He decides to take a gun and go on foot. Zoe gets inside the car when Buck tells her he will eat her out when this is all over. But they hear a loud scream. Zoe goes to check and we see Tommy crushed under a tree while beavers are around her. She charges at one of them with her axe but misses. Smith shoots the beavers and saves her. They shift Buck to his vehicle and leave. Back in the cabin, they cover up each window and door. But a beaver still tries to enter the house. Soon, Smith, Buck, and Zoe arrive. But they can't open the door. The beavers are nearby so they decide to enter the neighbor's house. Smith using his rifle takes care of some beavers. They enter the house but everything is messed up. Upon some searching Zoe and Smith come across the body of the husband. The phone rings but a beaver seems to have cut its wire too. Zoe assumes they are doing this on purpose. Mary back in the cabin is trying to read a book to understand what is happening. They learn that beavers might be looking at them as enemy beavers and are just trying to protect their home. This lights up an argument between Jen and Mary. Jen doesn't understand why would Mary kiss her boyfriend and Mary doesn't have a solid answer. Jen also reads and realizes beavers can dig tunnels as they look at the ground terrifyingly. Zoe is putting some ice on Buck's foot so it doesn't rot. They know they can't live until morning and that Buck will have to survive the night. Jen enters Mary's room and removes her top. She climbs on Mary and holds down her arms. Mary thinks she wants to make love with her but soon Jen's nails grow and she turns into a half beaver. Jen tries to eat Mary but Sam from behind takes her down. Smith is going to cauterize Buck's wound but they hear a loud roar and go near the window to watch. But nothing is visible. Suddenly, Buck also turned into a beaver, attacks Smith from behind and bites his cheeks. Zoe points a rifle at Buck. She misses shots one after another. She opens the door but there is a beaver. She is forced to run upstairs while Buck follows her. Meanwhile, Mary asks Sam to remove his shirt to see if he is scratched or bitten. They are attacked by the beavers from underneath. Zoe gets locked inside the upper bedroom. But the neighbor wakes up from behind and tears some of her hair. Zoe with an empty rifle has no other option but to jump outside the window. She falls unconscious. Mary and Sam manage to enter the bathroom. Mary makes Sam take off all his clothes to see if he is bitten. After he is done he asks for the same. Mary removes all of her clothes but he tries touching her. And they both start kissing and making love. Just then a beaver chews down on a wire and causes a fire. Mary tells this to Sam who goes to check but Jen from underneath bites off his crotch area. Mary walks through the fire. Zoe with a truck crashes through the cabin and saves Mary. They both escape but come across Smith who is turned. He takes a few shots at them but they barely miss and crash into a tree. The loud noise from the car attracts all the beavers and zombies from around. They start the car and escape before any of them get close by. Jen appears in their car but Zoe makes her fall down and drives over her head. Some zombie beavers also try to chop down a tree to stop them but they escape that too. They finally reach the area where the tree had fallen. Tommy is also turned underneath the tree. Zoe and Mary ditch the car. But Mary sees Zoe is scratched. She points a gun at her but Zoe tries to convince her she is not bitten. Suddenly, Mary begins to shake and turns. Zoe kills her with the axe. She cries and keeps going further away. She sees a car and smiles waving, hoping to be rescued. We see the same guys from the beginning. The partner asks if he sees the girl while the driver who is busy on his phone says yes. They crash into Zoe as the movie ends.